been given. You want the participants to talk truth, and the environment of an FGD is such that one can speak only the truth. That is the advantage of FGD. One can never lie in an FGD situation, because if somebody lies, the cat comes out of the jhola. So, it's an interactive group setting where participants interact among themselves. They are free to talk, and it's unstructured. You know, the questions are given, but everything is unstructured. Nobody is. There is a moderator facilitator. The person who is doing the research, he acts as a moderator, but he doesn't ask any question. He just raises the issue, allows people to interact among them, so that ultimately, and if an issue is discussed for say 10 minutes, 15 minutes, ultimately the answers are clear and all the group members finally agree, well, this is the answer. They debate. They debate, for instance, whether this team has won or not, or that judgment is right or wrong. Finally, after discussion, they all agree, or maybe majority of them agree, well, this is the answer to this question. So the topics are also fairly defined, fairly tight. You cannot have everything discussed in the FGD. And the most interesting thing is, in any interview situation or in any research situation, the meaning that is generated is normally the individual meaning. I am asking you a question, you are giving an answer. This is the meaning that you are generating is your meaning. But here it is a group meaning. A group of people, they are generating a collective meaning. So that means the collective meaning should speak the reality which really happened in daily life. The reality that betrays the collective meaning cannot be sustained in FGD. For instance, if a particular community practices child marriage, that would come in the discussion that yes, we practice. They would agree. They cannot hide. I will tell you experiences how, why and how they cannot hide. Because there are 10 people, 8 people sitting there, at least all of them know them each other. I mean, each of them are known to all of them. And obviously they know who has married whose daughter or son early. They have all the information. You are an outsider, you may not know. You may not know that the participant with whom you are talking about child marriage, she herself has got a daughter married early. If you ask her about child marriage, she will say, no, this is very bad, it shouldn't be done. No, I have never done. But the person sitting close to her, they will look at her. They will laugh at her that she is telling lie. And the discussion cannot go on for long. Right? After the point of time, the thing will come out. Then no. Whatever I have said so far, you please reject everything. काट दो ये सही नहीं है अभी मैं सही बोल रहा हूँ. That kind of expression, right? The interaction allows a kind of constraint on the person to tell lie. Since a group of people are interacting, whatever you are saying is being listened by others. You cannot say that you practice something. You cannot say that you believe in something which you do not practice. For instance, is a discussion on communal relation. You as a Hindu or as a Muslim, maybe as a group of Hindu and Muslim participants, 6 Hindu and 6 participants. You as Hindu, you are claiming that you are uncommunal, you always love Muslims and you always go for this and that. You are claiming. The others are listening to you. They will reply to you. If you are claiming something which actually you do not do, you do not practice in daily life, then they will ask a question, do you ever visited a house of a Muslim friend? They will themselves ask this question. So interaction itself, the fact that you allow the participants to interact, is a kind of constraint on a person to tell lie, to camouflage. Right? In an interview situation, normally we hide our reality, and whether dowry should be taken, no, you should not be taken. Whether you have taken dowry, no, I haven't taken dowry. You have taken gift, no, I haven't taken, but I was given gifts. This answer, you go to 100 people, 100 people will say the same answer. You need not do any survey to get this kind of answer. But put them together. 12 parents who have transacted dowry, who have recently married their sons or daughters. And they say, no, apna to itna paisa diya na. We have seen. And in rural society, also in urban society, people take pride in the saying that I have given so much of dowry. There was a boy who used to do MPhil with us, Raghuvar Singh. His friend used to say, usko dowry nahi mila jata. He was married. So, हमको ज़्यादा dowry मिला, that kind of praise. People openly say, 5 crore मिला, 7 crore मिला. They're talking crores. In UP, high caste people, they talk about talking crores. In Bardhaman also, you'll be surprised that Ugra Khatriyas transact 5 to 7 crores in marriage. Crores. Obviously, extra values are that people have to show off. Look, this much of expenses I have done. Show off to whom? To the society, to the family with whom they are getting married. Now, if you call the relatives or neighbors in your FGD and that person is there, there will be critical question. And he cannot hide the fact that he has spent so much in order to show off. So, the other face of dowry, that people don't demand dowry, people rather give dowry. Many of the father-in-laws, they give dowry in order to show that they have given so much. They have spent so much. And there are also instances where the girls themselves demand dowry from their parents. Didi ko itna diya, humko kyun nahi denge? I need a share of the property, So, our notions about dowry is that it is only the groom's family, the group, boy's family who demand dowry. It could be the reverse also. It could be the girl, it could be the girl's parents, it could be the distant relatives, many things. And all these will become clear only through FGD. Okay? Now, studying people in an FGD, it happens in a natural setting. Many of the interviews often they take place in an unnatural setting. In the unnatural setting means maybe somebody is sitting down below a tree and it's too hot, maybe mosquito is biting, maybe it's dark. Yeah? Or if the person is sitting down inside the home, there are other people who are listening to the discourse. But here, FGDs take place in a situation which is surrounded, which is covered. Either inside a room or in a place where others cannot penetrate. The entry of outsiders, because if you are talking, say, discussing about domestic violence and the husbands are listening to the discourse, then it's problematic. So you have to make sure that the environment is such that there is electricity, right? There is air, and the people do not feel rushed to go home. I remember in the morning in Malda we called a FGD of mothers. We understood that this is the wrong time because 10 o'clock is not a time for mothers. They normally remain busy after getting off their son and husbands to office. And they become free only at 11:30. Even that is not the proper time. 2 to 30 probably is the best time for the mothers. And 5 o'clock is the best time for the children because in the morning half they are all busy with the tuitions, with schools. So there are timing for each group of people. If a person is too busy, you cannot hold him for long. So if you are calling a person for FGD and each FGD will take more than 1 hour. Each FGD will take more than 4 questions. Discussing 4 questions will take more than 1 hour for 12 people or 10 people. So you have to have control over the time. That you are beginning FGD at a time when it is daylight is still there. If you are beginning in the evening, there should be electricity, and people should not feel hurry to go. You should also look into the constraints that participants face. All this is the duty of the moderator, the duty of the researcher. Right? There are other things which I also would share. It helps you to understand the critical issues which probably no other technique would allow you. So what are the advantages? It gives you an understanding of why people do certain things. Normally, I do certain things, but I won't give you the real explanation for why, for the reason for which I do. For instance, I never close the door of the toilet whenever I enter into the toilet. I keep it open. That is normally the complaint that my wife, every time she tells me, "Kya hai? Darwaja khola hai." And every time I give her some excuse. Some excuse. Something. Sometimes I say, "I forgot." Sometimes I say, "I thought I should enter here again. I thought I should go again. That's why I didn't lock it." Sometimes I say, "I was in a rush to help you. Something was being burning in the kitchen, so I rushed for that." I give explanation. I don't acknowledge the fact that I kept it open. And the brilliant example of all this is accident, road accident. You are standing and the footpath and somebody hits you. You ask, "Kya bhai, kya ho raha hai?" He will tell you, "Yahan kyun khade hai? Why are you standing here?" You will also have an answer. Don't think he would acknowledge, "Sorry, galti ho gaya." Never. He is hitting you and he is charging you. Why are you standing here? So in social life, this does happen that people never disclose why they are doing it. But here, they will be forced to do it, even if initially a group of persons may try to conceal their opinion initially. But for long they cannot hold over it. After a point of time, in Bengali we say, "Jola theke beralta beriye jabi." Then critical data which is not shared in public life. That yes, I have given dowry. Yes, I have married my daughter early. Yes, I have done it. Yes, I have a habit of keeping the door open. This acknowledging this fact. In real life it doesn't happen, but in this critical sort of data, normal interview also, you never get hold of this kind of response. Then one can modify or change the opinion. This is something great with FGD. Initially I said that I am not involved in corruption, but gradually I said, well, since everybody does it, I also do it. A kind of change the situation. Because my friend has told me, "तुमने तो इतना पैसा लिया था ना, काटने लिए थे और की चलছে आजकल की ফেরত দিতে হবে কাটমানি হ্যাঁ কি মানে কাটমানি কাটমানি কি মানে ফেরত দিতে হবে." So then initially if you are asked whether you have taken kaटमानी, no, those who have taken, they are all you just give versions. Then your friend, "Bhai, you have taken सब ले रहा है इसलिए मैंने लिया." You give a different justification. So you can change your opinion, and changing the opinion means you are actually framing a concrete explanation about the reality which you are looking for. For instance, you are looking for answer to whether people are corrupt or not. Who are corrupt? Or who takes dowry? Or who commits violence? Is it an alcoholic husband? Or is it depressed husband? In domestic violence research, I have found that wives, many a time, beaten wives, abused wives, many a time, defend their husband. এমনিতে খুব ভালো, মদটা খেলে খুব খারাপ হয়ে যায়। Official এত চাপ, so much of pressure in the office. That's why he beats me up. Otherwise, he loves me so much. This is, this kind of explanation in order to defend. So, in that kind of situation, when you challenge that notions, you being a moderator, you say that why do your husband take alcohol and beat you up, or why actually your husband brings the office matter into the room, private room. He is frustrated, but you are equally frustrated. Don't you think that he is doing a crime? Don't you think that he should act otherwise? Does he beat his son or daughter in an alcoholic state? Does he beat his parents in an alcoholic state? Why does he beat him? See, this is the question. So in an FGD situation, you are in a position to cross-check this sort of person and get the answer that well, this is male, something related not to alcohol, not to frustration, but to maleness and patriarchy, domination of the patriarchy, so that he thinks you are his property. So he can do anything with you. That is basically the sentiment which is expressed in such violence. How do you get that kind of answer? In an interview situation, even in an observation situation, you can never understand this. This can be done only through critical discussion, lengthy discussion. Often in research, we look for data which are valid. There are 2-3 terminologies used to achieve objectivity of research. It is often said that your research should be scientific, your research should be objective, it should be neutral, it should reflect reality. These are normally the things that we look for. And here we use 2-3 terminologies. One is reliability. Second is validity. Reliability means whatever a person said in a particular context, that answer will remain the same in a different context also. That means answer is correct, 100% correct. That is not dependent on a particular situation. That I am saying in the morning my answer is 1, in the evening my answer is 2. What is the correct answer? 1 or 2? If my answer changes, then it is not reliable. You are giving a set of explanation. I would ask whether these are reliable or not. Reliable means whether you have talked to, for instance, he has talked to him and he is saying about him, I would say whether that is applicable for that person or not. Get my point? Or that is applicable so far as his opinion in other context or not. So the set of data, set of explanation that you are giving, whether they are reliable for the whole society. If you are in a position to say yes, this is reliable, then your generalizations are powerful generalizations. So reliability is something which is normally we seek, we fought for in any kind of research situation. Second is validity. Validity means over a period of time. Research done here, research done there. Right? The findings of a research done in 2007 is found to be true in 2010. It's still valid. So, both these questions to all these questions, whether you are whether results are believable and whether results are realistic or not, these can be done. Questions to all these can only be achieved through FGDs. Now, after listing the advantages, obviously there are many advantages of focus group discussions, which probably would allow a particular person to supplement the kind of data that he is collecting and challenge the kind of data that he is collecting through other techniques. That means, that is the point that I am making, is that FGD findings can be utilized to substantiate a theory. Theory building, I have already said generalizations, but generalizations mean theory building. Theory building is essential in any social science research, in any scientific endeavor. If you are not generating a theory, either agreeing with the existing theory, changing the existing theory, or rejecting the existing theory. Theory building is ultimate goal of any kind of social science research. So FGD is a technique which is 100% helpful in building theory because it generates general opinion on the critical issues. Now, doing FGD, conducting FGD is not an easy endeavor. In fact, more a technique is better in producing result, more it is tough in doing it. Okay. In one point of time, initially when I began this lecture, I talked about anthropologists doing field work. I can name a person who was forced to stay in a place called Papua New Guinea for 3 years. His name is Malinowski, the great social anthropologist of Britain. Malinowski, when he went to Australia to do a research on a particular community, then the Second World War broke out. Australia and England were in two camps. He was arrested by the police with the charge that he is a British civilian staying in Australian land. Then some anthropologist from Australia argued that, well, Malinowski is an anthropologist, he is all known to us, don't put him into jail, allowing him to stay there. So Malinowski was allowed to stay there for 3 years with the condition that he cannot leave. He cannot leave that land. So he was forced to stay in Papua New Guinea, mix with the people, become a village person himself. Because if you stay in a locality for 3 years, obviously you become a citizen, you become a neighbor. The kind of documents that he produced, brilliant documents. Right? For instance, I just 1 minute to say, he saw people exchange gifts. I give you something, you give me something. He says there is a pattern in gift exchange. What pattern? If the gift is returned immediately, you are giving me a bottle, I am giving you another bottle. Okay, the other day you give me one ice cream, today I am giving you a different sort of ice cream. That kind of relation, people want to finish it early. They do not want to continue the relation. See, from a gift exchange, he is talking about quality of relation. Then the other is, people forget about gift, what the person is given, and the return is after a long time. That is the kind of situation where the value of the relationship is not considered very great. So they ignore the gift given by the friend. This is much more negative than the first one. The most desired gift exchange is, you take a gift, you don't immediately pay it back, you take few days and give a greater gift. Much better gift. It means that person wants the relation to continue. How could Malinowski get to know about this gift exchange? He used the term Kula exchange, K-U-L-A, to understand this exchange. Kula, K-U-L-A. He went to houses of group leaders. Group leaders, the beautiful gifts are all preserved and written, this gift was given by this person. They preserve the gifts. Now, looking into the caves, Malinowski said that in Chomian Island, people are all divided into segments. They say they are not a community. They say they are all divided. I live here, you live there, because it's the far distance. But there is a community of gift exchange. You preserve a gift given by that community. You respect that gift. That's why preserving this gift. You are aware of that community. And probably you have also equally given a gift to them. That's why a better gift was given to you. So the community members do not know that they have given rise to a community. There is a community of gift givers and gift exchangers. They do not know. But when an anthropologist staying there, he could understand because he stayed there. So the technique he used was participant observation. He participated as a citizen, as a person there, as a neighbor there, as an inmate there, and understood. But nowadays, we cannot do participant observation. For instance, if you want to do on any particular topic, go to a village. There is caste, there is gender, there is religion, fragmentation. So much of fragmentation. People do not come out, people remain always busy. They are either busy inside the house or with the mobile. You cannot observe any person. That simple life, simplicity is not there. The people talk to each other, they gossip, they sit down, right? And in the, Ambagan niche jemonn gossip hoto age, right? That kind of situation is no more there. The people express themselves, they go in the public. Most of the time we are either in the mobile or in the television, in the house or in the internet. How can you observe? Right? So doing participant observation in complex society is a very difficult endeavor. You can do it only in a simple society, limited simple society. But this kind of societies are far and more, very far. You have to go far away to observe that kind of society. And for getting entry, you have to getting entry into tribal land. You have to understand their language, their custom, and so difficult. If you take a person who knows the local language. For instance, we went to study Purulia, we didn't understand what they're talking. They're talking in Bengali. But from Bardhaman University students, they didn't understand what these persons are talking. Because Purulia dialect is different. So even within Bengalis, you see, you have to understand dialect, you have to understand the particular term that they are using. For instance, you go to study the Hijaz. They immediately will shift to Farsi language, which is a mixture of Urdu and Hindi. You never know whether they are talking about you and whether they are talking about something else or not. You have to understand the language. You have to be part of that. So doing that kind of qualitative study is not feasible for many of us. So we have replaced it by alternative kind of qualitative studies where some persons can be called for intense discussion. But there are certain strategies to be followed. Otherwise, the fruits of FGD can never be discovered. First of all, there should be a moderator. Along with that, there should be an assistant moderator. Because the moderator is looking into the endeavor of the group. Assistant moderator is providing inputs. He is also observing the behavior of people who are responding. He is recording the whole thing, either in a through technology or by writing down the notes. Because you are always involved in the discussion, you are listening to it. Eye contact, you should not lose eye contact. You are intensely involved in the discussion, you are listening, who is saying what. If there is a contradiction, you again ask him to clarify. Oh, you said other thing few minutes back, now you are saying this, please clarify. You are involved. But your assistant moderator is taking care of all notes. Maybe the tea is to be served, maybe electricity has gone, maybe there is so much of mosquitoes, the mosquito coil is to be put in, maybe outsiders are disturbing. Get the point, all these. Control over the whole thing, this is being done by assistant moderator. Then you need a recorder in order to understand who has said what. The moderator does not ask the question, he leads the discussion, he begins the discussion. In the beginning of the discussion, he introduces himself, he introduces the group member and makes them aware of the issue on which they will talk. That we will be talking about primary education. Why we are talking? This is the situation for which we are talking. We want your opinion, and you have to empower them. You have to say that they know better than you. That we have come to learn from you because you are a valued citizen, you are a valued neighbor, so you should give us careful opinion which will be used for the research. Then the time frame, as I already told you, you cannot continue the FGD for long, maximum 2 hours. To hold a person for 2 hours, can you imagine? If I ask you to participate in a discussion for 2 hours, you will say, I will be going to toilet. The moment you go to toilet, you break down, others will follow you. So you cannot continue for more than 2 hours. You will finish within, say, 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes maximum. And during this period, everybody should be available. So you know the person. You have done a bit of field work. You know who is the person who is friendly, who can talk, who has information, who knows. For instance, you are talking about experience of marriage, and you have called an unmarried person in the group. Do you think this is methodologically right? No. Experience of parenting, and you have called a person who has just married. So, selection of participants, very carefully selection of participants have to be done, and before that the time limit, at what time the FGD should be held. It should go with the timing that is most favorable to the participants, right? Then approach, you should approach the group with an open mind. You should say they are the experts and they should tell you everything, and obviously you should not be biased. For instance, we will be doing the FGD on private education. I as a teacher, you as a researcher, you are aware of certain things happening in Bengal, in India, so and so forth. If I am biased and if I express my bias, obviously the whole discussion will get biased. I should not comment. Let the debate, and if the discussion, if you feel that the discussion is not taking care of all issues, the discussion has become political. For instance, they are blaming a political party only. They are blaming only a political party, and you are understanding, you are already read, you know that not a single political party is responsible for the decline of standard of education in Bengal. There are many other factors. So you have to raise this question. Don't you think there are other questions, there are other issues? Don't you think infrastructure is an issue? Don't you think this is an issue, job is an issue, unemployment is an issue? You have to generate those things and allow the group to come back to the... So, point is, a group may sway away to a particular direction. It may happen that 1 or 2 members in a group, they have the power to influence other men's opinions. It does happen in social life. That if somebody says something, others say, we need apology. If that happens, then only one opinion is expressed in an FGD. So you have to see to it that everybody speaks, right? So your bias, you should not be, as a moderator, you should not be biased, and differences in race, ethnicity, class, sex, age and education, they are very important. If, for instance, among the 8 participants, some are illiterate, some are highly literate. The illiterate won't talk. They will feel, for instance, a school teacher, a daily laborer, okay, like a housewife, like this. They are the participants. The women will feel that the man will talk more. Man will feel, why is the woman talking more? The daily laborer will feel, let the teacher speak fast, he knows better. So if people are unequal by age, by sex, by ethnicity, the responses will become will reflect that inequality. So selecting participants is a crucial endeavor it should go ahead with the agenda of your research. If the agenda of research is something, you should select your participants according to the objective of the research. And in selecting participants, for instance, if you are working on gender issues, you should select selectively either man or woman. In one FGD man, the other FGD woman, married man, like this. In this way, you should feel the difference between this group, that group. For instance, you are working on communal relation, so one group Hindu, the other group Muslim, the next group is mixed. You feel the difference between Hindu group, Muslim group and mixed group. Probably the mixed group will become more secular as compared to the other groups, right? Then, if one of the participants, one or two of the participants are more powerful, for instance, you have selected a panchayat member or a political party leader as a participant in a group of villagers, do you think he would allow others to speak? Or do you think others will speak before him? Or others will contradict his opinion? Never. So you should not select powerful persons of the locality. You should interview them separately. Powerful persons of a locality always would come and seek, would give you advice. Ki chante chaisen bolun, amaku bolun, I will tell you. Because they think they know everything. Right? You have to be careful with them. Sit down with them, take their interview separately, and they say, they should make it possible. You are so, apni to alada. You know, in Bengali we call, give them an upper position so that he doesn't disturb the proceedings. So it might happen with the husband also. You are talking to the wives, and the husband says penetrating. No, you have to give respect to the person who is disturbing. Otherwise, if you threaten him, he won't allow the discussion to take place. There could be unexpected problem. Suddenly, it started raining. Now it started raining, you are within a covered room. It doesn't, as such, it's not a problematic. But it might make a particular participant very anxious because কাপড় রোদে দিয়ে এসেছিল, ও উঠার জন্য চেষ্টা করছিল। That lady has become anxious because it is raining outside, the children will return, the clothes are there, everything is, so she doesn't want to participate in the discussion. After all, the question he raised, he told earlier that people always ask you this question, how I am going to be benefited by helping you? And you know that you are going to be benefited, not the participants. So obviously, unexpected situation, suddenly it is, electricity has gone, suddenly something has happened, all this may happen. So you should have extra time. If something unusual is happening, you should immediately stop FGD. There is no point continuing FGD because FGD data will be biased. Physical environment is not under control, you should not do. Then arrange participants in a circle. They should sit in such a fashion that it appears to be democratic. Right? For instance, the kind of situation we are standing, it is undemocratic. I am talking, you are listening. Isn't it? So if FGD takes place like this, moderator is talking and the participants are there, so moderator becomes a teacher. Moderator is teaching. So how could moderator expect better result? Right? Moderator becomes an expert and they become illiterate persons. No, it should be reversed. So it's a round sort of thing where democracy prevails. Everybody should see everyone. Everybody should be in a position to watch and hear and see every person. Right? So sitting arrangement, physical environment should be done in such a fashion that it reflects democracy and differences of opinion, facial expressions. For instance, somebody is talking against child marriage and you see a lady doing like this. Obviously, She is not replying, she is not opposing, but through facial expression, she is telling that that person is telling lie. In social life, it does happen. So, if it is in a round situation, the moderator and the assistant moderator is in position to see the facial expressions when somebody is talking what others are doing, right? You have to provide incentives. Why should a group of mothers, a group of children stay with you, pass their valuable time for 1 hour discussing Hajabarlo? What purpose does it serve by talking about dowry? After all, I have given dowry, I have taken dowry. See, these are the questions. So you have to call them, there is a packet, sweet packet, but we will distribute it later on. For children, chocolate, lozenges, cup of tea, biscuit, right? In between. So that, they do not feel embarrassed, that actually they are participating in a group discussion and throughout the discussion they are saying something, they are doing a great job. That kind of environment should be created. And if clarifications have to be sought, I am saying, often the moderator has to seek clarification because people are not discussing. People are not discussing. I will give you one example. We are doing an FGD of mothers. And then I started asking about the reasons of child marriage. So people have mothers started talking about poverty, unemployment, and Malda is backward. That's why we have to get our daughters married so early. So the discussion went on for 15-20 minutes. Suddenly, an ICDS worker, she stood up and said, but referring to a lady, that you are so rich, you have so many mango gardens, right? Yet you have, you have got your daughter married. Then she said, well, yes, I am rich, I am this thing. Yet, daughters finally are to be married. So the discussion changed. As I told you earlier, one cannot hide for long. The moment a new input comes in which changes the whole discourse, you have to immediately catch hold on this. Well, let's begin again. Ask them, do you want to revise? Ultimately, that FGD ended with the premise that gender difference is main reason for, or patriarchal ideology is main reason for child marriage, not poverty. Poverty comes second. You have certain opinion about girl child. You do not want to send your girl child to schools. You think they are fixed only for marriage. These are the reasonings for which actually even those who are rich, they also get their daughters married early. So that kind of situation will emerge if the discussion is held like that. So it is not only a democratic kind of situation. If you feel that they are not talking the truth, they are not reaching out to other inputs, they are not referring to other factors. You should say, don't you think unemployment is important? Don't you think this is important? Don't you think that is important? Let them reflect on that, right? So you as an expert, you know about the factors, but you don't influence them, but you throw the issue, so that the discussion takes into account all kinds of factors. Now, often it is said that in FGD, if the persons are known to each other, then probably people cannot or people may not tell lie. The other kind of option is people are unknown, people are not known to each other. Now, these two kinds of situations will give rise to two kinds of problematics. If the people are known to each other, then there is a possibility that I am not disclosing everything before a known person. a neighbor is sitting close to me, so I don't say that such and such has happened in the family. I don't say. Because immediately he will go to the village and he will tell this to every person. So I'll keep calm. If it is unknown, that person, all persons sitting there unknown, so obviously I don't mind sharing the. No, point is, if you go to a village and if you are doing a research on a particular community, many of them would know each other despite the fact they are unknown in technical terms. Maybe you live in that village, I live in this village, but I am aware of you. So nothing is unknown in contemporary phase, because in the global age, everything is so close. You live in a different village, but yet I know you. Secondly, it is not possible to call members of different village into one entity. It's not feasible. A person has to travel long distance to attend an FGT. Maybe it may take place in a school premise where children coming from different villages are attending an FGT, but they are classmates. They know each other. So probably this debate, we should not go with this debate about known and unknown persons, because often in a situation you have to call only those who are known to each other. Because you are working on a theme, number one, and you are working in an area. You are working in an area and you have called people to come to a place which is close to their home. You cannot take them long, chalo Kolkata chalo FGT karne ke liye. People don't go. So therefore, this known unknown debate is not, it don't give us any, even if they are known, you have to have FGT. You should be in a position to make people feel free to talk. That ICDS leader who exposed that lady, later on, others have started exposing each other. If I am exposed, I will expose you. If you are exposed, then you will expose her. So then we got to know that everybody is involved in the practice of child marriage, and we had a brilliant experience. We went to Panchayat Pradhan's house. He offered us cold drinks, very good, give a very big bhasan on child marriage, and told us the kind of activities that, the campaigning that he did. Particularly he was a Muslim, on Muslim girls' education, and he promotes this and that. This experience, that experience. Named so many girls whom or families whom he has helped. So we came out. There was a shop close to that house, and we were buying something from that shop. So the shopkeeper said, "Can I actually? We have come to inquire about the child marriage." Oh, not me on the beer or body. Koto boys chilo, 15. See, for whole 1 hour he has given us interview. We've recorded it in the video, talked about against child marriage and his activity, but he himself, we went back again. Hello sir, where is your daughter? Then he had a story, he came out with the story that she used to go attend school in class 8, boys fell after her, and one day a boy catch hold of her, got hold of her dupatta, and she fell down from the cycle, and somehow they understood that the girl is to be married, right? And that kind of reasoning. I said, you were a Panchayat Pradhan. You could have easily taken recourse to police action. You could have easily talked to the boys who are disturbing, the whole political party, whole machinery. If you do it as Panchayat Pradhan, what would others do? Then he said, yes, I have understood the mistake. The next daughter, I will get her married so early. So, the people who are there, and another instance, That was in a Hooghly village. Before doing the FGD, they're all panchayat functionaries. Panchayat Pradhan, Panchayat Secretary, Panchayat member. This is the FGD of all. The Pradhan was a women Pradhan, female Pradhan. So we started with the basic question is how many of your girl child they get married before the age of 18? Giving us statistics. Since they are Panchayat Pradhan, Panchayat functionaries, they are in a position to give us statistics. This question won't be, we won't be asking this to a common man. Then how many girls? Give us statistics. Then Panchayat Pradhan looked here and there. Like this she was doing symbolically. We could understand that she is trying to hide. She said, Bishina, 5%. Before holding that FGT, we have already conducted a survey. We find out that in certain localities it's close to 80%. Huge. In huge number of girls get married from that locality. They are saying it is 5%. The women Pradhan is saying it is 5%. You know, normally we expected that since Pradhan is women, she would at least understand and reveal the issues that girl child are facing. Being a woman. But even then we said, the other said, 5%. Like, what are you having? Since the Pradhan has said something, so others won't contradict her. Then we showed her a letter of the Chief Minister of Bengal. It was in 2005, Buddha Bhattacharya has given me a letter saying that Professor Ghosh will go and study this. He said, this Chief Minister has written. This is the project of Government of West Bengal. Government of West Bengal might have a project based on the findings that we will be submitting. We have come to study your village, and we say that there is no child marriage in your village. Government might not even give you any grant. Then said 10% will go. Double. I said, yeah, I think it is slightly more than that. Finally, they agreed that okay, after 20% you can go. The whole proceedings was recorded in a video camera. So we shut down the camera 24%. Not even 25%. No, 20%. Maximum. There was a bargaining situation in marketing takes place. So I have given so much of relief to you, that kind of situation. When we were packing the camera, a Panchayat member saying it is 45%. Suddenly, a Mohammedan Panchayat member said it is 45%. We again opened the camera, then said, no, I cannot say it before camera. That FGD we used to explain why and how political leaders in Bengal hide social reality. We use that FGD findings to tell about the political, responsibility of elected leaders. To what extent elected leaders themselves are responsible for perpetuating the practice of child marriage. Right? So often in an FGD, if all of them tell lie, you have to understand why they are telling lie. Because you have the background of all persons. Somebody is teacher, somebody is school teacher, somebody is college teacher. You have all social economic background. You can generate certain answers. Why people tell lie? Why this group is saying this? Why the other groups are saying that? We had an FGD in a school around say 8 to 10 girl child of class 9 to 10. In one of the FGD, a girl child said, Kaku, maa ke ekটু bolo na. I said, what does your mother do? She said, she is a marriage registrar. I said, what does your mother do? She gets all girls married. She is involved in child marriage. Market to Bologna. That is the thing, a girl understood that her mother should not take part in child marriages. And interestingly, most of the boys who take part in the process of education or go to school, they are against child marriage. So we have suggested in 2005 itself that a scheme should be elaborated where girl child should be promoted, they should be given cycle, they should be given scholarship, and a local committee should be formed where teachers and school children should be party to that. That is actually being reflected in Kanyastree later on. That proposal submitted by us was a UNICEF project. Government of West Bengal also provided financial help came from outside. So, point is, FGDs are helpful also to understand why a certain set of people tell certain or reflect certain data. Girls, they are totally opposed to child marriage, and they say the major reason for in Malda, the major reason for child marriage is patriarchy. Parents, they say the major reason for child marriage is poverty. Right? Father put the blame mostly on mothers for child marriage. And mothers put the blame on non-availability of breadcrumbs. See, everybody has reasoning. So we had discussion FGDs of mothers separately, fathers. In each village, 4 FGDs were held. Mother, father, children and elders. To look out the differences in opinion about child marriage. Same questions were asked. What are the reasons? What should be done? What has been so far being done? Like this. 4 to 5 questions. Okay? So all participants took part. There, the differences in approach, differences in suggestion. The girl wants their parents to be punished. The parents do not want any action. Neither about scholarship. We talked about whether scholarship should be given like Kanyastree, we are proposing that. Whether, there should be more, environment, girls free environment where girls find it more lucrative to study, continue the study in schools. We are opting for all this also. Parents did opt for all those options. This is not an option, that was not an option for the parents. So in FGD situation, even if a particular set of group comes out with a particular logic, you can explain that logic based on the socio-economic background of that particular. The why do parents say so, why do mothers say so, why do elders say so, okay? That gives you more space to talk about social life. And that quality, that kind of quality of data can never be reached through any kind of survey. Okay. Now there are other critical decisions which have to be taken before you go for an FGD. I will just say this and end this discussion. First of all, beginning an FGD and ending an FGD is a critical task. If you are beginning an FGD, you have to explain the purpose of holding the FGD. If the purpose remains unclear, then obviously discussions won't reflect on the question you are posing. You should equally end the discussion by summarizing that we have had this discussion, and this discussion, from the discussion we came to know that these are the major reasons for unemployment in India. These are the major reasons for lower standard of education in primary level in Bengal. You have to summarize. And you have to say whether somebody disagrees with your finding. If somebody disagrees, that also should be noted. It might happen that there is a difference of opinion. So you should say there is a difference of opinion. So beginning an FGD and ending an FGD is important because you need solid explanation, not differences. It is not enough to say that 10 people have said 10 things. 10 people have raised 10 demands. What is the major issue? What is number one? What is number two? Right? So you have to give priority. Give priority. What should be done first? Tell me. Participant 1, participant 2, participant. So all participants are saying about different prescriptions. They are giving different. Somebody is talking about antibiotic A, somebody is talking about antibiotic B, somebody is talking about vitamin. Ultimately you are summarizing, okay, this is antibiotic plus vitamin. Okay, agree? Okay. Get my point? So that summarization is needed for any kind of FGD in order to take the fruit. Then number of groups. If, for instance, you find that new FGDs are not giving any kind of new input to you, you should immediately stop conducting FGDs. So there is no limit as such, theoretical limit, right? If your area is limited, for instance 3 villages, 4 villages maximum, and you have identified participants, stakeholders, you call them stakeholders, right? For instance, on the issue of communal relation, maybe Molovis are a stakeholder, maybe Purohits are a stakeholder, maybe political party leaders are a stakeholder, maybe students are a stakeholder. You identify stakeholder. Like in child marriage, you identified that there are 4 groups of stakeholders. Children have a view, both boys and girls, similar view, father, mother, elders. So 4 stakeholders you have identified. That identification is to be done. And if you find that by conducting an FGD, you are not getting any new input, whatever has already been said earlier is reflected in the same, so you should stop. So there is as such no limit to FGD, but since it is very difficult to conduct FGD, the number of FGDs that one should do, it should not be more, it also should not be less. First of all, the number is decided on the basis of number of stakeholders, whether you have approached all stakeholders. If it is a communal relation, whether you have talked to Muslims, whether you have talked to Hindus, whether you have talked to mixed groups. So whether you have approached all groups, number one. Number two, whether you have finished all localities in the area where you are doing it. You have finished all localities. The third is whether answers are same. If the answers are same, then the point going to a different locality. Everybody is talking about the same causes of child marriage, same suggestion of preventing child marriage, then you stop. Okay. Number of participants. It should not be more than 10, because time is the limit. If 15 people talk, you allow everybody to talk, it becomes a seminar like this I am talking. It would never end within a day. Okay? So the number of participants should be in between 8 and 10, not more than 10. Because you should have lively discussion, free discussion, everybody is equal, everybody should take part in the discussion. To give a free space to every person, you should have the number of participants should be limited. Right? If it is a crowded place, then very few people will talk. Then selecting participants, I have already told you, you have to look into differences in social indexes. If it is a village study, area-wise, if villages have caste divisions, different caste peoples, differences on the basis of age, senior persons, middle-aged persons, like this. You are working on unemployment. You take the voices of those who are studying, those who are unemployed, and those who are seasonally employed. That means selection of participants is done on the basis of review of literature. In the literature it is saying that students are very anxious because unemployment is rampant. What they would do after completing the study. Those who are unemployed, obviously they are the major target group. Those who are seasonally or partially, temporarily employed, part-time, they are equally concerned. So obviously these are the three stakeholders. If you select somebody who is already employed and talking about unemployment, experience of unemployment, I would ask you not to do it. Is spending unnecessarily, you are spending time. You ask me about cooking experience, I would say I go and talk to my wife. I occasionally cook. My experience is limited only making tea and making something hot. Garam garam, nothing else. Right? I remember I cooked once for my daughter, she loved it. But in a chutney, I put tej pata, I put dhania patta, I put everything. So I didn't know what to do. So whatever was there, my wife later on said, "What did you do? You put everything in chutney?" I said, "Yes." I don't know what to do. So probably you should not talk with a person who is not expert, who doesn't know about the thing. Selection of participants, very important, and obviously politicians should be avoided. And it should be done in such a way that your objectives are fulfilled. Objectives, the quality of education in, say, primary education, you are doing FGD. So select group children of, say, or in higher secondary education, select children studying in class 8. One group from 8, girl student, boy student, 2 FGD, class 9, class 10, class 11. Finish. So with 6 FGDs, you got to know that what they talk about the quality of education. So your objective should decide who should be your stakeholder. Asking question. Normally in FGDs, questions are not asked. Issues are raised by the moderator. Before the FGD, a poster containing the major issues that we want to know about the extent of child marriage, reasons of child marriage, strategies to prevent child marriage. These are the 3 objectives. You write down unemployment, education, whatever may be. You identify major issues on which discussion will take place. And you put it up. You say, okay, we are picking up the first issue. What is the first issue? Okay, extent of this. This is the first issue we will be discussing. Okay, you start beginning. So if you begin from this side, all participants are number, participant 1, participant 2, participant 3, like this, and the assistant moderator notes down the number of a particular person. The moderator is saying, participant number 1 is saying now, recorded, participant 1 what she said. Names are not taken so that anonymity is maintained. All participants are numbered. Participant number 1 is speaking. I am saying, okay, participant number 1, please, aapne bolna. It's recorded. Participant number 2, participant number 3, they are finished. Then again second round. Right? Because there is a twist. In between there is a twist. So they are changing the discussion. They are changing the issue. They are changing the cause. Moderator has to keep control if there is a division, if they are blaming only a political party, if the discussion is becoming political, right? Getting deviated from the major agenda, then you have to bring it back to the focus, right? And the salient issues should be highlighted. Beginning and finishing, I have already said. Recording and transcription, very important. Before FGD is done, one has to check the record. Because you have completed the FGD and then after you found out that recorder stopped in between. There is an effort, what is the purpose of doing an FGD if the transcripts are not recorded? Because after doing an FGD, you have to take the transcript, what a particular person is saying, what was the ultimate decision, what was the resolution finally, what was the final decision that the FGD is taken. You have to listen to the discussion. And based on that, you have to write down the transcript. So you had 10 FGDs. and 10 FGDs have come out with these. Right? And the 10 FGDs had 4 different stakeholders coming from different background, rich, poor, middle class, maybe. You ask different sets of questions to different classes of people. Socio-economic background of participants do matter a lot in any kind of discussion. So if you select rich and poor, for instance, literate and illiterate in the same group, I told this earlier, it will put you into trouble. Right? You may do so if the issue is, for instance, communal relation. But even then, all female FGD is a better proposition than male and female mix FGD. What you can do, all male, all female, then mix, in order to see differences of opinion in a different context. So FGD also allows you a kind of measuring rod to test a method. It's a measuring rod to test a method. If the, after an item is cooked, your mother will ask you to test salt, chicken, noon, chicken, etc. Test. FGD is also measuring rod. All male FGDs, all female FGDs, mixed FGDs. Who is producing what FGD is producing better result? If you find that mixed FGDs are producing better result, you should go for more and more mixed FGDs. Get my point? So FGDs allow the researcher to use their expertise to know more and more about critical issues through their insightful intervention. Interpretations of FGDs can be done through tabulation, through chart. For instance, if you identify major reasons of child marriage, number 1, number 2, number 3, if you ask priority wise, right? So, for instance, you have conducted 12 FGDs, 10 FGDs. Then, in first FGD, the priority 1 was unemployment, the second was poverty, third was patriarchy. You can number how many FGDs, in how many FGDs, unemployment or poverty or patriarchy has been numbered. So then you see that out of 10 FGDs, in 7 FGDs, patriarchy was identified as a major reason. Number 1 preference. That mathematical figurative expression you can do. I earlier told you that even numerical figures do explain, talk about quality. Right? So you can show pie chart, you can show a table, and then you can describe, you can explain a phenomenon. Why people do it, the way they do it, and what kind of explanation that they give it. Because in any article, in any project work, in any thesis, ultimately your task is to explain data. If you go for just tabulation and figure, this chart, that chart, the discussion becomes very boring. You may get your PhD, but you won't be in a position to publish it in a very good journal. Because quality comes from discussion. Quality comes from quality of data, quality of analysis that you are doing. So FGD findings should be mixed with the kind of survey data that you have collected through different techniques, different methods, in order to explain, for instance, why is the standard of education low? What are the reasons for standard of education being low? What should be done? These are the major things, these are the major questions on any sort of thing. Why, what, and how? So all research questions basically answer these 3 basic questions. What? What is the state of thing? How? How it is being done? And what should you do? What are the responses? What are the alternatives? What are the steps to be there to prevent it or to promote something? So this endeavor is basically, if you seriously look into the writings of all great personalities, discussions might get into some figure, amortizations for instance. Discussion might bring in some figure, some arithmetic figure, GDP, rate of poverty, unemployment, but the discussion is basically qualitative, isn't it? So all great writers have basically relied on qualitative phenomenon in order to express a reality, and those qualitative aspects you can collect only through FGD. But there are limitations, as I already told you, because you cannot have more than say 4 to 5 or 6 issues in FGD, right? You cannot conduct any number of FGDs. There are limits, because selection of participants, creating an environment, finding a time, suitable time, these are all costly endeavor. It's a long drawn process. Okay, so there are certain limits, but often statistical analysis also cannot be done in the FGD. You cannot do the chi-square test, and then this is not absurd, because the data itself is not breakable in there. What you can say, how many FGDs, how many members in FGDs have said so? What is the major reason, what is the major option, major solution to prevent child marriage? That you can say. You cannot put number, that percentage of people, that percentage of people, that cannot be done. Okay. But if you look into the limits of other techniques, other available techniques which normally we rely on, you would find that the disadvantages of FGDs are very less. So FGDs are, and these qualitative techniques are better placed as compared to the other available techniques. As I have already told you in the beginning, all techniques have their advantages and disadvantages. So let us end this discussion by looking into certain things that one needs to do, one needs to take serious look into in order to have a better FGD result. First is control over the proceedings. Before beginning an FGD, you should plan in such a way, you should locate a place where FGD should be held. Place should be in a house, in a club room, in a covered place. Why? Because external control, external influence should be limited. If you have selected a classroom where windows are open, broken rather, there is a window in the classroom, then children will stand, people will stand there and they will listen to the discussion. So this is not a proper place for FGD. You have to have control over the environment where FGDs take place, number one. Then timing. Decide about the timing, talk to the participants, what is the best time. Maybe 1 or 2 trial FGDs you should conduct in order to understand whether the questions that you have framed are correct or not. Even the questions that you are putting out, right? Questions that you are posing, they should be framed in such a way that clear answers should come. If the questions are confusing, if I say, don't you think that unemployment is so and so, so and so? Very confusing question, don't you think? Exactly, the wording is, what is the major reason for child marriage? Option is very clear, understandable. If I say, don't you think that child marriages take place for different reasons? What is this statement you are making? Maybe as an intellectual you find interest in it, but as a person who is attending the FGD, it is a complex statement. No complex statement. The question that you are using will be very clearly understood. So after control, you should decide about the question, decide about the participants, decide about the place and timing, and then start FGD. Once the FGD starts, you and your co-participant have to take control of the whole thing, whole proceeding. That by mistake probably you have selected a politician. You didn't know that she is a politician. Or by mistake you have selected somebody who talks a lot, who does not allow others to talk. So difficult. I remember in last month when I coordinated an FGD with the participants here in this room, there was a participant from Bangladesh who was not so fluent in English. She didn't talk much. Just 1 or 2 words and then she used to finish. But other teachers were so fluent, they went on talking and talking. Right? This is the drawbacks. If the participants are not selected, if the participants are not equal, then some biases will hamper the proceedings of FGD.
Sir, if by mistake we choose a politician,
you need to cancel the FGD.
Okay.
And if you have no control over the proceedings of things, people are entering, people are raising, the mobile is on, you have to obviously switch off your mobile. In an FGD situation, if I am responding to something, I am swayed away by something else. You should create an environment where everybody is concentrating only to understand, say, education, only to understand unemployment, only to understand trafficking. They're totally immersed in the discussion. And they are really speaking their experience, they're really speaking their truth. We were conducting an FGD of young girls in Jalpaiguri Tea Garden. That was a project by Save the Children and UNICEF. 12 tea gardens, closed tea gardens. These girls had gone outside to work. They've come back. We are working on trafficking. We thought they are a stakeholder. Because some of the girls who have gone there, they didn't return. We thought that they are trafficked. But how do you know? So those who have not returned, you cannot find them. Those who have returned, they are the major target. Then we talk to SHGs, ASHA workers and other panchayat members also, those are police officials also. Those who are aware of this issue. Common person they are not. Parents they are not aware of who is going and who is missing. In fact, guardians are so careless in tea gardens. If you give a bottle of wine to a father, you would forget everything. That is the typical situation in tea garden, and they have no responsibility towards children. Children have to fend for themselves. Anyway, so there are 8 girls, and interestingly, we have been talking to girls in the tea gardens, asking others who have gone. The facial expression, the hairstyle, everything, the dress they are wearing, they look like urban. Because they have been there in Delhi, places like Delhi and Mumbai to work as maid. Obviously, the kind of dresses that they wear, bhuruta plug kora ache, shampoo kora ache. Easily, facial is being done probably. Easily one can understand that they are not like the other girls of other tribal girls. They are not tribal. Other tribal girls of the tea gardens. Fine. What was the experience? They are not sharing the experience and how much of money, they're talking about education, this thing, that thing. So suddenly I asked a question. Why you have said that your experience is good and you have earned so much and so much. Why don't you go again? How many of you want to go again to Delhi? None. I said, why? They're looking at each other. They're not disclosing. Even in an FGD situation, they are not discussing because they are victims of sexual harassment. So we have identified some participants for case study. went into her house, talked to the parents, involved the lady volunteers to talk to her personally, and then she revealed that she was sent to a house where she was being sexually abused. That is the reason for which she doesn't want to go. But here in the meeting, they know of each other's being violated, but they don't share. So in an FGD situation, even if the answers are not clearly told, you can get hold of a victim whose experience, if you are able to share, it becomes a brilliant case study. And we were able to collect 80 case studies from tea gardens of trafficking. Huge cases of trafficking. The way they are being transported, who transported them, the method of transport, what was the responsibility of the parents, what did the parents do, the modalities of trafficking, everything came to us only through cases. So FGDs would allow you also to, I told you, also to test the method. If an FGD fails to generate conclusion, it would lead you to some other. It would provide you some data, at least to identify response participants who can tell their life experience about the processes of something. For instance, an unemployed person. You get to know that he is frustrated so much that he has started taking drugs. You are talking about the consequences. You want to write about the consequences of unemployment. Maybe working on unemployment. You take his case study separately. You treat him as a patient, as a clinical. Gradually he would speak out. Right? And these experiences, if you can really use the case history to explain the process, you can get reverse picture, which I told you earlier. I would end this story by a reverse picture. We went to Zalim Tola to conduct FGD, Malda. We were told by the Panchayat Pradhan that one girl called Humaira Khatun is the only girl of that locality who has passed Madhyamik. We are delighted. Obviously we have to take her interview. Went to Humaira's family. Her father is a daily laborer. Her younger brother studied up to class 11 and then stopped studying. He has joined as a laborer. Her junior assisting sister studied in class 11. She also left the school. So you understood that even though Humaira is the first Madhyamik, followed by her sister, something is wrong with the system of education there. People are not pursuing higher education. They are not completing class 11, class 12. There must be something wrong. Everything is not so good, like day and light. Anyway, so we went on talking to Humaira. Camera was on. We talked to the DSW that Humaira should be our model. In each locality where the rate of child marriage is so high, we should select some persons who would be the model for us, role model for us to campaign against child marriage. They will be given some assignment, some financial assistance by the state government and the DSW in order to work as a sort of thing. And their picture, posters, everything will be posted. Look, Humaira is educated. Why didn't you go to school? Like this. So the interview was going on about Humaira's experience for education. She said first she got compartmental, then she studied again. She passed the Madhyamik examination. So it was a wonderful experience to become the first Madhyamik pass in the locality. She was all in, good mood. But suddenly she started crying. We stopped the interview. Can you presume the reason? Can you guess the reason which actually we apprehended there is something wrong with the system of education itself? She is crying because she is not getting married because she is educated. The only one condition that Humaira put forward before her parents, that her husband should be at least Madhyamik pass. At least up to her level. Because she valued education. So she thinks if her husband is educated, obviously children that she is thinking about a family would also become educated. She did not have to tell her in-laws about the need for education of girl child and others. So this is the condition, fine. Nothing wrong in it. But those who are coming, those proposals where the boy is Madhyamik pass, they are asking more than 1 lakh dowry. And if it is 8 pass, then dowry is 60,000. Well, from this family will pay. And when we went to the nearby house, they say that we should get our daughters married early. Look at Humaira. We thought of making Humaira as a role model, putting her picture. Humaira is not at all a role model. It's a counter story. That because she is educated, she is not getting married now. Anyway, we have to leave that place, but we have been so emotionally sensitized by this story that we requested DSW to give her some employment somewhere in IIT's center, somewhere, so that she did not have to think of marriage as an option to her. It is the reality in Malda, Murshidabad, 24 Pargana, all backward districts. Marriage is a compulsion for girls. You have to get married. And obviously in